the magnitude and the intensity of these protests are pretty much unprecedented for this campus. I know I'm a senior and there were protests last semester and they were never this large as the one yesterday, and even our advisor has said when the student media policy was being protested and when there was Erase the Hate, things were never as big as they are now. So we just want to hear from you. Why do you believe such a large segment of faculty and students have kind of come together about these issues?
Well, I need to say this in a nuanced way, and I hope you will take both halves of the thought, because this is about Ithaca College, and I don't want to deflect that or seem to minimize that. But it is also about what's going on in this country right now, and it is about the Black Lives Matter movement. It is about a sense that as a country we've reached a turning point where we just have to do something differently, and we have to engage with each other in a different way. And I do not say that to deflect anything away from Ithaca College and the incidents that we've had on our campus. But it is also a national movement around college and university campuses, and there is a reason for that. Our Ithaca College issues and incidents have been, they're deeply troubling, and they stand on their own as that there are enough evidence right there that we should be engaging. But I think we miss the picture if we don't see the bigger picture. And indeed, that's where the rally opened yesterday. There is a national problem. It is a systemic problem. I couldn't agree more.
Why do you think that is? That Ithaca College, you had said, is kind of, I think you used the word failing to address that sense of inclusivity up to this point. I don't mean that in any sort of malicious intent.
No, that's what I said, and I mean that. Well, I can think of two things to say. I mean, one is we're part of our wider society and our wider culture, and we reflect those misunderstandings and fears and biases and so forth. In addition, and much more specific to Ithaca College, our percentage of underrepresented students has almost doubled in the last 7 years, from 11% when I arrived to 20% today. That is a very big shift. Our faculty and staff percentage of people of color has shifted much less. Not surprising, we have 25% new students every year, but only 4 or 5% new staff or faculty, so change will occur much more slowly there. But that creates an increasing disconnect between the student body and their expectations and their needs and the faculty and staff. It's a disconnect that could be bridged if we had been, over the last years, more attentive to the cultural changes that we need to, in order to be fully inclusive. If we had been doing some of the things that we are now starting to do, but we weren't. And now is the time, sort of being forward-looking, now is the time to do those things and start recognizing that Ithaca College has a different present than its past, and the future will be different still more.
You mentioned this earlier, a little bit, you touched on it, but since the October 21st Free Speech Rock protest, POC at IC has largely refused to engage with dialogue with you or anybody else really in administration. How do you plan to move forward with the things that are in this plan for the Chief Diversity Officer to do without necessarily having their input or that two-way conversation?
That is a fair description of their stance, and my personal preference would be that we move forward with their insight. I deeply empathize with and agree with the statement that it's not their problem to solve. And I don't feel that engaging and offering insight is the same as saying, help me solve this problem or identify the solution. However, they're in a different place on that, and I respect that. We do have a lot of people engaging and offering their thoughts, both publicly through the website and privately in terms of people reaching out to me and to Dr. Richardson to offer maybe face-to-face or maybe via email their insights. And we're incorporating all of the collaboration that is offered to us, and a great deal of collaboration is being offered to us in thinking about how to make these steps effective. We had an increasingly diverse student body, that the diversity among faculty and staff has not changed as quickly, and that kind of a culture gap has grown over time. Of course I wish we had addressed that sooner, though at the same time, I have to tell you that had I taken the initiative to point to that even 2 years ago, I'm not sure I'm not sure the campus was ready to hear that that was an issue and was ready to embrace that as something we need to work on the way they are right now. So I can say that I wish I had tackled it earlier, but I'm not convinced that I would have been able to get the traction. It's really not about but that, say, our leadership plans would not have been able to get the traction that we are getting now.
Mm-hmm. So did you consider tackling it earlier, or is this more of an in retrospect kind of idea?
Of course, there's been conversation about microaggressions on campus for several years now. I had been looking for a number of years for the kind of angle into the topic that would allow for constructive leadership. Again, since I reject the idea that I can change that myself, I didn't think about what would I do that would change it by myself. It just doesn't even seem like a promising way to think about it. So what would be a constructive angle into it? And I never found that constructive angle until more recently. So the short answer is yes, I've been thinking about this as an important campus issue. But one, as a leader, you take on the things that you believe you can mobilize others to make a difference on.
So there are student and faculty no confidence votes in progress. Why do you think students and faculty have such little confidence in your leadership?
I'll allow students and faculty to address that. I wake up every morning with energy around what can I do today to move forward on the important directions and initiatives for Ithaca College. And lately, that means I wake up every day thinking about diversity and inclusion.
Mm-hmm. If a significant amount of faculty and students were to vote no confidence in you, would you consider resigning?
If there are no confidence votes, they'll go to the Board of Trustees for consideration and discussion. So it's not, I've set myself outside of I'm not regarding this as an electoral campaign period of time. I'm regarding this as a period of time where I want to do the very best job I can do. I don't know if my tenure here will be longer or shorter, and either way, I'm determined to feel really good about what's happening right now and what's happening in the weeks ahead.
Mm-hmm. So you would not consider resigning? You'd have to be removed by the board? Is that?
Right now, I'm giving no consideration to resigning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to speculate as to what would be the information, including the electoral returns, that would cause me to think differently. Mm-hmm. But no part of me, I can be very clear on this one right now, no small part of me is thinking about resigning right now. I am completely focused on doing what I consider to be a very important job at a crucial moment in Ithaca College history.